Your support means everything to us. Nearly 90% of our viewers haven't subscribed yet, and we need your help to keep creating the engaging content you love. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let us know where you're watching from by leaving your city in the comments below. Samantha gazed out of the window of her charming apartment, cradling a warm cup of coffee as the soft light of dawn gently illuminated the world outside. It had been a full year since her divorce from Tom, and although the sharp sting of loss had dulled with time, memories still danced at the edge of her mind like whispered echoes of a past life. In those months of rebuilding, she had poured her heart into her career as a freelance graphic designer, rediscovering passions and nurturing her creativity. Yet, amidst the freedom and fulfillment of her work, a quiet longing for companionship persisted. One radiant afternoon, as the sun played across her phone screen, a message from a mutual friend, Jenna, jolted her from her reverie. "Hey Sam, Tom is back in town and he wants to catch up with you. Are you open to it?" The unexpected note set her pulse racing, stirring a mix of excitement and trepidation at the thought of facing him again. Their parting had been gentle, but the prospect of rekindling old ties unleashed a swirl of emotions. After a moment of contemplation, she replied with cautious optimism, "I'm open to it, let's see how it goes." In the following days, anticipation mingled with anxiety as Samantha found herself revisiting the mosaic of their shared past. The laughter, the dreams they had spun together, and the painful reasons that had driven them apart. Although she had grown remarkably since their separation, a spark of curiosity about Tom's renewed perspective lingered in her heart. On the day of their meeting, she selected an outfit that balanced effortless chic with thoughtful elegance. Stepping into the quaint cafe where they had arranged to meet, her heart pounded in synchrony with every step. There, at a secluded corner table, sat Tom, his familiar smile rekindling memories of better times. He had changed subtly, his hair now longer, his demeanor more relaxed, yet his eyes still held that unmistakable warmth. Rising to greet her with a heartfelt embrace, he murmured, "Wow, it's been a while. You look wonderful." Grateful for the tender welcome, Samantha responded with a soft smile. "Thank you, Tom. It's truly good to see you," as she settled into the chair opposite him. Their conversation began lightly, filled with updates about work, travels, and shared acquaintances, and soon blossomed into deeper, more reflective exchanges. As they reminisced about the good times, an undercurrent of tension surfaced. Tom's gaze lingered on her, hinting at emotions that neither had fully voiced. Finally, with a tone both steady and vulnerable, Tom confessed, "I've spent a lot of time thinking since our divorce. I realize now that I took what we had for granted. I was so wrapped up in my career that I neglected the connection we shared." His admission sent a tremor through Samantha's heart. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Lowering his eyes to the rim of his coffee cup, he continued, "I missed us. I was focused on my own ambitions, and I never truly appreciated the depth of our bond." A surge of conflicting feelings welled within her, defensive memories of why they had parted, yet also a deep yearning for that lost intimacy. "We both made choices that led us here, Tom," she said softly. "I too needed to focus on myself." His sincere eyes met hers as he added, "I've been working hard to be more present, more aware, and I regret how things ended between us." Their exchange carried both the bittersweet taste of nostalgia and the cautious hope of new beginnings. "So, where do we go from here?" Samantha inquired, her heart fluttering with both excitement and apprehension at the idea of reopening old wounds. "I'm not asking for anything dramatic," Tom replied gently. "I simply want to reconnect, even if it's just as friends. I value you in my life and want to explore what that might mean." Though Samantha had spent so long forging her independence, a tender part of her longed for the companionship they once shared. "Friendship could be beautiful," she murmured, "but it will take time." In the weeks that followed, their bond began to reawaken slowly. They met for coffee, strolled through sunlit parks, and exchanged stories of personal growth, all the while savoring the comfort of familiarity while remaining mindful of the fragile emotions beneath the surface. Samantha treasured these moments yet remained guarded, knowing that the past still held its power. Tom, too, made a sincere effort to become a better man, and while she appreciated his transformation, she wondered if their shared history could ever be fully left behind. One quiet evening, as they sat together watching a movie, Tom turned to her with earnest eyes and said, "I really enjoy spending time with you, Sam. It feels so good to have you back in my life." Though his words sent a flutter through her heart, Samantha cautioned, "I feel the same way, but we can't ignore what we've been through." As their friendship deepened, Tom invited her to a lively gathering with his friends. Despite her initial hesitation, she decided to go, eager to support him and step into his world once more. Surrounded by laughter and warmth, she found herself gradually swept up in the convivial atmosphere. Until, amid the merriment, she noticed Tom engrossed in a spirited conversation with a woman named Claire. Their effortless laughter and shared glances ignited an unexpected pang of jealousy in her, a stirring emotion she hadn't anticipated. Later that night, when Jenna joined her at the bar, Samantha confessed in a hushed tone, "I didn't expect him to be so comfortable with someone else." Jenna's gentle inquiry, "Do you still have feelings for him?" left Samantha pondering her own heart. With a soft sigh, she admitted, "I thought I was over it, but seeing him with someone else makes me question everything." Determined to confront these unsettled emotions, the very next day, Samantha called Tom and arranged to meet again. Seated together in a quiet corner, she took a deep breath and began, "Tom, I need to talk about last night." With genuine concern etched on his face, he asked, "What's on your mind?" Lowering her voice, she confessed, "When I saw you with Claire, it stirred up feelings I believed I had moved past. I didn't realize how deeply I still care." Their conversation lingered on the precipice of past pain and potential healing, leaving them both aware that the journey ahead was as uncertain as it was filled with promise. The weight of unspoken words lingered between them, stretching the silence like a taut string. Tom shifted uncomfortably, his voice gentle as he said, "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." Samantha met his gaze, her expression thoughtful yet resolute. "I know," she replied, her voice steady. "And I appreciate that you're trying. But I think we need to be honest about what we truly want." Their conversation unfolded like a delicate dance, careful steps forward, hesitant retreats, moments of clarity mingled with uncertainty. They spoke of their past, the pain and the lessons it had left behind, and the complexity of their present. It was an exploration of emotions neither of them had been fully prepared for, a journey into uncharted territory where longing and hesitation coexisted. "I want you to be happy, Sam," Tom said softly, sincerity shining in his eyes. "Whether it's with me or someone else. But I can't pretend I don't want to explore what's between us." A surge of emotions welled up inside her. She had spent so long convincing herself that what they once had belonged to the past, yet here they were, standing at a crossroads, the possibility of something new hovering just beyond reach. "I want happiness too, Tom," she admitted. "But I need to know we're both ready for it. Our history is complicated." Tom nodded, understanding the weight of her hesitation. "Let's take our time," he said, his voice steady. "I don't want to rush into anything. But I also don't want to lose this connection." So they moved forward cautiously, weaving their friendship back together one thread at a time. They met for coffee, took walks under golden autumn leaves, and shared quiet moments of laughter and reflection. The bond they once had began to rekindle, not as a desperate attempt to reclaim the past, but as something new, something fragile yet promising. One evening, as they strolled through a park bathed in the glow of streetlights, Tom suddenly stopped. He turned to her, his expression thoughtful. "You know," he said, "I'm glad we're taking this slow. I want to do it right this time." Samantha looked up at him, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. "Me too," she said with a small smile. "I think we can create something beautiful if we're patient." The air between them shimmered with possibility, the unspoken understanding that they were no longer running from the past, but rather shaping the future with careful, intentional steps. One evening, as she stood by her window, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of deep orange and soft pink, she reflected on her journey. She had spent the past year confronting her emotions, making peace with her past, and rediscovering the strength within herself. Tom had become a steady presence, no longer a ghost from a previous chapter but a companion in the unfolding story of her life. Their friendship had blossomed into something rich and genuine, filled with shared moments that felt both comforting and new. One weekend, Tom suggested an escape, a trip to the mountains, just the two of them. It'll be good for us, he said, his enthusiasm infectious. No distractions. Just fresh air, good conversation, and a little adventure. For a moment, Samantha hesitated. The idea of spending uninterrupted time together stirred something inside her, something that felt both thrilling and terrifying. But then she smiled. That sounds amazing, she said. I'd love to. The trip turned out to be everything they had hoped for. They hiked through towering pines, the scent of earth and greenery filling the crisp air. They sat by a crackling fire at night, wrapped in the glow of warmth and flickering embers, trading stories under a sky littered with stars. In the stillness of the mountains, far from the distractions of the world, Samantha found herself seeing Tom in a different light. Not as the man she had once lost, but as someone who had grown alongside her, someone who had become more than just a memory. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Tom turned to her. The flames reflected in his eyes, casting shadows across his face, but his expression was open, vulnerable. Samantha, he said quietly, I don't just want to be your friend. I care about you deeply, and I think we owe it to ourselves to explore where this could go. Her breath caught in her throat. She had been guarding her heart for so long, afraid to let old wounds reopen, but here, beneath a sky that seemed to stretch endlessly into the unknown, she felt something different, a quiet certainty, a longing she could no longer deny. I feel the same way, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. But I also want to be careful. We've both been through a lot. Tom nodded, reaching for her hand. I completely agree. But I believe we're in a different place now. And I want to take this chance with you. The weight of his words settled over her, not as a burden but as a promise. In that moment, surrounded by the gentle crackling of the fire and the infinite expanse of the night sky, Samantha realized she was ready. When they returned home, they stepped into their new relationship with deliberate care. They moved forward with open hearts but cautious steps, allowing their love to unfold naturally. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Samantha found herself experiencing a happiness she hadn't felt in years, one that wasn't built on nostalgia or longing, but on something real and present. Tom was attentive, supportive, and steady, and together, they created a rhythm that felt right. One evening, as they cooked dinner together, Samantha paused, watching Tom move effortlessly around the kitchen. I know we've been taking things slowly, she said, her voice laced with quiet sincerity. But I just want you to know how much I appreciate having you in my life. Tom looked up, his smile warm and genuine. I feel the same way, Sam. I've learned so much about myself since we reconnected. And I'm grateful for every moment we share. Their journey had not been without its challenges, but the trust between them had deepened, strengthened by the understanding that love wasn't just about passion. It was about patience, communication, and the willingness to grow together. Wanting to celebrate their journey, they hosted a small gathering with the friends who had been there for them through every twist and turn. Laughter and conversation filled the air, the clinking of glasses and the warmth of shared memories weaving together into something beautiful. As the evening stretched on, Tom stood and raised his glass. To new beginnings, he said, his gaze locking onto Samantha's. And to the power of second chances. Sam, thank you for being patient with me. For allowing me back into your life. A soft smile curved her lips as she lifted her glass in response. To friendship, to growth, and to love. As months turned into a year, their love story continued to unfold, not as a rekindled past, but as something new, something entirely their own. They learned to communicate openly, to celebrate each other's victories and navigate life's challenges together. One evening, as they strolled through a moonlit park, Tom turned to her, his expression serious yet hopeful. I've been thinking a lot about us, he said. About our future. I know we've taken things slow, but I can see a life with you. And I want to know if you feel the same way. A rush of warmth flooded Samantha's chest, and without hesitation, she answered, I do, Tom. I see a future with you, too. I've never been happier.